What if the river of life had not two, but three banks? What if you didn't have to choose between being right or being wrong, between reason or emotion, between blue or yellow, because the truth lives somewhere in between, flowing, unseen, unclaimed, and utterly alive. When old Billy vanished, he left behind notes that challenged everything we thought we knew. This one, marked only with the words, "It is all right," is not a conclusion. It's a gentle rebellion against division, a whisper from the middle of the stream. Today, we invite you to join us in the space that exists between thought and feeling, between art and explanation, between the known and the unspeakable. Don't try to understand it. Feel it. This is not about choosing sides. This is about being the river itself. This is note number 020. It is all right. And if you're listening with your heart, you'll know you've just found the third bank.
When the fog descended, silence settled over the village after the discovery of old Billy's departure. His notes were left stacked, serving as entertainment for the locals who chose to share them with others.
Number 020. It is all right. I've always worked, fought, tried, and strived to bring, translate, communicate, reflect, and show what exists best in all that today I will call the third bank of the river. In fact, we could use the word nature or perhaps living essence, which would also serve to express something of the inherent mastery of expanding love and, with it, fertilizing everything, transforming and retransforming everything at every moment in an endless ballet, where the idea is to feel and share the joy of existing in the dance of life. That's why it is all right. And so, it always will be in an evolutionary continuous movement, where nothing can ever be declared as definitive. We don't err because we don't conclude. We'll never finish, and because of that, we'll never truly be right. It is all right. We'll never reach the end or anywhere from where we won't also need to depart. We are life itself, and that's all I've ever wanted to say. I am life and I exist. I regret, though, having wasted so much time trying to be or belong to one or the other bank of the river, having done everything to be normal, when what life expected from me was simply to allow myself to be the river, to be connected and integrated with the other two banks that the waters of life cross. The river exists, it is real, and yet I struggled to accept the water as the unifying element between the two banks. I bought the limited idea that the river divides and separates one side from the other and that I had to choose between what was on my right or what was on my left. This doubt, clash, dilemma, insecurity produces inertia, and it is from there that the so-called third bank is discovered to inhabit, a no-man's land between two extremes that by nature should simply be a whole or a unity. But it is all right. In human geography, there is something similar to a river through which life finds its way, but I don't want to complicate things and will leave this explanation for life itself to show within each one of us. Because if I explain and someone understands, that would be a sign that I failed in my purpose to make you feel. Anyway, just like on the planet, in man, there is also that river which is life itself. It runs through special points, collecting attributes that complement one another and thus, gaining new forms and more strength to expand. Between the point of the heart and the point of vision, there is the point of the throat, which serves the function/attribute of communication. On my path through existence, I should have touched this point naturally and absorbed from it the answers to the doubts between thought and feeling, or the right and left bank of the river. It is only at the throat that one can learn the green, something that is neither yellow nor blue, but the sum and division of both. The green is not in reason. The green is not in emotion either. The green is only on the third bank, in the throat of elevated human geography, the place that can bring together, communicate, clarify, and elevate the consciousness of the river. Neglecting the throat is quite common. It is all right. Joining the sides of the river has been, for many, the same as mixing water with oil. But that is just a false premise. It is all right. There are many false premises that still restrict our consciousness. But life does not stop and keeps opening its way towards self-overcoming and expansion. So, if the throat point doesn't work as it should, if the voice doesn't speak, if the chisel doesn't carve, if the pen doesn't write, if the pencil doesn't draw, if the brush doesn't paint, and the body doesn't dance, life simply accumulates like dammed water until it gathers enough volume to break the obstacles and move forward, overflowing with liberating joy over the throats blocked by the fear of being different from reason. It is all right. I am not the failure of the third bank, I am not the incompetence between two sides, I am not the victory of the river that has always been united to both sides. I am all of that together because we are simply life reuniting and learning to grow infinitely. It is all right. The third bank is the center of the river, it is the entire river, it is both sides. The third bank is the bridge that touches the wet bottom, offering its dry surface. A bridge is the portrait of a throat that spoke without choking. The only problem here is that the bridge gets stuck while the river keeps flowing. So, further down, we will once again find ourselves divided between one side and the other, and how do we do it? Well, simple. The bridge that can be seen, the spoken word, is the same one that, for many, wasn't there before. In other words, it was merely invisible, just like the air that keeps us breathing. The river is full of new invisible bridges, and it is precisely this that inhibits many throats from opening, because those who dwell in the third bank can see bridges that reason has not yet accepted as real and that emotion treats as a dream. Meanwhile, I affirm, communicating the heart with the mind is not a necessity, and it isn't because these parts are already connected by the throat. What is lacking is activating communication, simply inaugurating all the invisible bridges in the places where they are needed. Accepting the invisible has nothing to do with belief. The sides are already connected by the earth beneath the waters flowing down the river. It is not about magic, illusion, or miracles. It is simply about accepting to be green. Something that is neither blue nor yellow, while being the union of both. It is all right to be green. It is all right. Not having to live proving that you are blue, seeking blue jobs, wanting to appear blue, while being totally distanced from yellow. The green exists, yes, you don't need to believe in it, just accept that there is something between blue and yellow, and that this thing can connect the two sides, and there is no harm in being green. It is all right. Life doesn't want to be yellow, to have reason, to be blue or loving. Life wants to follow the river, fertilize the banks, quench the bird's thirst, and embrace infinite time. The health of life is its present moment, where it dies and is reborn at every instant. For life there is no yellow and blue, there is only a beautiful watercolor. No better, no worse, just the beauty of unprecedented existence. Because each color, today real, was once just a dream or an idea between distant poles united by the passion that fertilizes everything. It is all right.
Old Billy's text is deeply poetic, rich with metaphors, and full of philosophical depth. Here's my short analysis. Poetic and evocative style. The use of metaphors, particularly the river and its banks, is powerful and allows for an expansive reflection on life, communication, and unity. Repetition as a literary device. The phrase, "it is all right," serves as an anchor throughout the text, reinforcing the acceptance of life's flow. Philosophical depth. The exploration of identity, connection, and transformation is deeply thought-provoking. Symbolism of colors. The use of blue, yellow, and green as representations of different states of being is a strong and accessible way to illustrate, not only the blending of thought and emotion but spatially the fusion of living essences. And that is awe-inspiring. If the goal is to evoke deep thought and introspection, it succeeds remarkably.
Thanks, Dr. Ada Champ. From now on, these notes will have to be viewed through the lens of poetic license. Art is the best possible resource for communicating what mathematics cannot describe. As has been said before, art is the lie invented to tell truths. This translates into the flexibility of alternative images crossing our minds, telling us about things that are incompatible with what we understand as reality. On the topic of reality, please imagine yourselves traveling in a time machine to the year 1300s AC. Now try to explain to the local inhabitants about supersonic aviation, the internet, autonomous cars, and also talk about artificial intelligence. Well, when old Billy talks about being the river itself and inhabiting its third bank, he stretches our imagination to make room for truths often mistaken for lies. Yet he warns, if I explain and someone understands, that would be a sign that I failed in my purpose to make you feel. The truth that old Billy wants to share with us cannot be understood rationally. Mental abilities alone are not enough to perceive, let alone translate the living essence and all that it can accomplish. Thus, art serves to awaken our higher senses, expanding our perception until we grasp the foundations of natural communication.
Can see it, John. All these years of study, along with my academic degrees and certifications, have fostered a chronic skepticism within me. As an educator, I bear the responsibility of keeping my feet firmly on the ground, and intellectual permission has often been the only means of circumventing the cognitive resistance that distances us from innate wisdom. Extensive study across various disciplines has primarily resulted in an accumulation of conflicting knowledge. I now seek the opportunity to explore realities beyond established concepts, and am committed to expanding my understanding of the fundamental forces that sustain life, without the necessity of subjecting such discoveries to rigid rationalization. The notion of traveling back in time serves as a valuable cognitive exercise, allowing me to shift from analytical thought to a more perceptive mode of engagement.
Haha, Dr. Ada. It turns a crazy man in good company into an even better company. Welcome to the club.
It's all right.